What is good, guys? It's Rey-Jay back with another video. And in this one, I want to break down what's going on with Tesla, SPY, Nvda, the QQQ, and a couple of other tickers. I also want to provide you guys with some very important warnings about the market right now, as we have some very big things to be discussing. But before I break anything down about all this information, before I get into any more details, let me just mention a couple of things. I am firstly not a financial planner, so take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out the Moomoo link, which is down below and in the description. If you sign up for Moomoo, the link down below, and deposit $100 into the account, you are guaranteed up to 5 free stocks. Now, the offer ends in just about 4 days, so check it out before they run out. Anyways, let's break down what's going on with the market for now. So, I just wanted to mention that if you look at SPY, this is looking quite bearish so far, making lower lows and lower highs, and it's continuing to downtrend. Same thing could be said about Tesla. We got a really nice pop in the morning before this thing started to slow down. But the question is, what's going to happen moving forward for the next couple of hours, and what's going to happen for tomorrow? And I just wanted to warn you guys about two important things. So, number one, today at 2 o'clock p.m. Eastern time, so that's about like 30 minutes from now, we have the FOMC minutes coming out. Now, this is going to be very important. This is going to be a summary of the FOMC meeting. It's going to give us more insights about what the Fed may end up doing and the views and opinions of many of the Fed members when it comes to their adjustments to monetary policy. So the last time Jerome Powell spoke, the market got a rug pull. Okay, so if there's some news that comes out, then more Fed speakers and more Fed officials are looking into potentially raising rates more, being a lot more hawkish. This could slow the market down again. If not, the exact opposite could happen. So we'll just have to wait and see what happens with this release coming out at 2 o'clock p.m. So I'm expecting some high volatility. Sometimes it's really hard to predict what's going to happen, but the last time the Fed gave us some data, we ended up seeing the market slow down. So we'll see if that causes even more downside. Just be very, very careful and watch some of the levels I'm going to be calling out over the next couple of minutes. But also, that's not my only warning for now. I also want to remind you all that look, okay, the market is going to close in a couple of hours, and that's going to be your last chance between then and now. That's your last chance to exit any options or any positions if you want, because we have CPI coming out on Thursday, 1 hour before the market opens. So this could cause the market to gap up or gap down by the time we open tomorrow. And who knows what's going to happen with CPI? It could be a shocker. Maybe it will be, maybe it won't be. We'll have to wait and see. Now, just as a reminder, when PPI came out, which is the producer price index, this was a tiny bit hotter than expected. This tends to lead CPI, so it doesn't guarantee anything about the next CPI that's coming out tomorrow. But sometimes, guys, data can be a little bit hot. So you want to be very, very careful, and you never know what's going to happen. So as a trader, it's very important, in my opinion, to know when you could be entering something to be able to project something intraday, and know when you don't know something. And in this case, I don't know what CPI is going to be. So for me personally, it doesn't really make sense to be holding a bunch of massive positions going into it. Now, if you think the market's going to remain bearish, that's your choice. If you think we're going to bounce, it's all up to you. I'm just letting everyone know that I don't know what's going to happen and that it could be risky. All right. So those are the two main things. FOMC minutes starts in a couple of minutes, and then we also have the CPI report coming out before the market opens. If you want to hold overnight, it's your choice. If not, it's all up to you. Anyways, now let's talk about SPY. How are things looking? We were talking about how we had this rising wedge that was forming on it, and we actually got this break right here as soon as we hit this like 435 area. And as a result, we're coming all the way down to key support at 433. So far, it's looking more bearish, making lower highs and lower lows. But we will see what the reaction is after the FOMC minutes. We will see if we get some kind of like reaction once the minutes are released. It depends on what the Fed ends up saying, of course. We'll see what the Fed announces. But if we get some kind of bounce, watch this support right here at 433. That's going to be very, very key. If that breaks, we have some more support very close to this like 432 area, very close to that as well. We have this entire zone, which is acting as a demand zone. We'll see if this holds or not. So we have to hold 432 in order for us to maintain these levels. If 432 breaks after 433 breaks, if we break below that, there's potential for us to come all the way down to this previous resistance area, which is now going to become support around 430. And if 430 fails us, we're coming all the way down to the trend line towards the mid 420s. So 428 becomes a real possibility, and 426 if we break below 430. All right, so watch these levels carefully. Once again, it's 433, 432. Below that, we have 430. Then we also have like 428 and 426 as supports on SPY. But the most important support is going to be, in my opinion, this 432 zone. This needs to hold, or else this thing could start dropping even harder. As of right now, it's looking weak, so watch these levels very carefully. If the FOMC minutes try to pump the markets, which would be kind of surprising, watch resistance at 435. If that breaks, watch 436 to 436.5 as resistance. We will see if that happens. As of right now, we look a bit more bearish nonetheless. As far as Tesla goes, Tesla looks very similar. Tesla has been selling off today. We got this key rejection right here off this area we were talking about, this 268 area. So we kind of popped when we opened and dropped as we expected. And Tesla's been sinking since. So Tesla has support right now very close to this 261.25 area, and then we have 260. The reason why 261.25 is acting as some support is because we have this previous resistance right here where my cursor is a little hard to see, I know, but right here, this is acting as support and it's trying to hold Tesla up. If it breaks that zone, we have 260 as a critical support. If that fails us, watch 257.5, 255, and then the lower levels like that if Tesla continues to break below 260. If we try to bounce, we're actually treating 262 as resistance. We have to try to break that 262 to 263 area to turn a bit more bullish, and then we could see 265 being retested. But as of right now, Tesla's looking a bit weaker, and the odds do not favor that. All right, so we'll see what happens with the FOMC minutes, whether we get some kind of bounce or not. But for now, the trend is looking more bearish on Tesla, and the odds do favor it eventually coming lower after we saw the market dragging it down. All right, so that's what's happening with Tesla for now. Watch those levels very carefully. For Apple stock, I just wanted to mention that Aapl is looking kind of indecisive right now. I was talking about how if Aapl broke below this support right here at 178, we could see it start sinking even lower. There is a risk of that looking at the current rising wedge. But as of right now, these haven't really played out yet. They could play out a little bit later. So we'll be watching to see if Aapl breaks these levels. I'm going to delete those lines for now just so that I don't like remain too biased. I want to make it clear that we're going to be watching 178 on Aapl. If it breaks below that, this is going to drag the whole market down with it, and it's going to come all the way down to 177.5-ish. If that fails us, it's going to start sinking all the way down to the 176.5 area. We're looking at this back test. It actually got a rejection off the trend line, so it's still looking more bearish. And we had the rising wedge, which has led to a rejection. So we're going to be watching this very carefully. In order to turn bullish, you want to see it get back above this trend line, which is going to be back above like 179.5. But as of right now, it's looking a little weaker. It's trying to trade sideways. So we will see what happens after the FOMC minutes and CPI come out. For the QQQ, Invesco QQQ, this is also looking quite interesting because Aapl really didn't like tank that hard. We made an attempt to push up higher, but there is the risk of downside now that we're currently at support. But I told everyone to watch this 368 area. If we broke below that, that would be our signal for more potential downside. As of right now, it's still holding up. So we're going to be watching this carefully. Now, if you're bullish, you want to see it break and hold 370. If you're bearish, you want to see it break below 368. If that breaks, it's going to start coming down towards 366. There is a risk of more downside. It is starting to break below the wedge, so be very careful. The odds do favor the downside, but we're going to be we're going to be watching this 368 area just as support, just for our confirmation. For Nvda stock, we're going to be watching this rising wedge, like we were talking about Nvda possibly hitting like 465, then rejecting. That's what we said earlier. And that's kind of like what happened today. We kind of pumped a little bit, then came back down. So we're watching this support very close to this 461 area. This is the previous resistance becoming support. If we lose 461 to 460, you're going to be watching this trend line acting as support at 457. If Nvidia breaks below 457, that's when you could turn a lot more bearish. But as of right now, it's not like that bad. It's still doing a lot better than most stocks out there, so it's holding up decently. But it has to lose 457 to turn a lot more bearish, and then we could see it sink towards the lower 450s. So watch that very, very carefully. And I think that's pretty much it for now when it comes to my economic update. So anyways, just take care and watch your levels very, very carefully. Please know that we have all this big data coming out from the FOMC minutes to CPI, and be prepared for some crazy volatility between now and then going into tomorrow morning. All right, guys. So once again, it's your choice to hold overnight. It really is your choice, whatever you want to do. I'll see you guys soon for the final video of the day. Thank you and peace out.